Well, hello students. This is Mr. Z, and I'm going to show you guys how to assemble your printed flipbook pages. So if you have access to a printer, you're able to print your pages out. You can see this current flipbook has 4 pages. You can see we've got sections 1, 2, and 3, and then there is a title page. That was the 4th page. So you can see this one has 4 pages. Other flipbooks may have more than that. I think this is the smallest one. But even with more pages, this procedure is pretty much the exact same thing. So if you don't have access to a printer, I've been encouraging you, call the school, ask them to be able to come on campus and use a printer there. Go to a neighbor or a friend. Anything you can do to print a flipbook will be a huge benefit to you because it's way easier to fill out your notes. They are way more organized, and it's a whole lot easier to use your notes when you're going through your worksheets and when you are preparing for tests and quizzes. So here's the instructions. Listen carefully as I go through this. I'll probably model this 2 times just in case you miss it the first time. And you can always go back and rewind if you need to see it again. So here's the process that we go through. When you get the flipbook, when you print it out, you'll have an extra page here. And it shows you on this, let me see if I can get this on the screen and show you this. It shows you instructions about which page goes on which page. So take a look at these instructions for this particular flipbook. It says put 1, or page 1 is put on the back of page 2 upside down. Page 3 is on the back of the front flap upside down. And then there's a prompt that says watch video to assemble. That's the actual video you're watching now, but when I actually give you the printout, it'll actually have a link to this video as well. So page 1 on the back of page 2 upside down. Let's demonstrate to you how to do that. So I'm going to grab pages 1 and 2. You can see there we have it. Notice I've only printed on one side of the paper. The other side is blank. You don't want to print this on 2-sided paper or print it on both sides. So we got one-sided printout. Now when it says to put page 1 on the back of page 2 upside down, here's what I'm talking about. When you flip page 1 over and you put it on the back, if I can do this, on the back of page 2, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see this. Look what happens. If I look at this, look at the other side. Do you see how page 1, the page 1 tab, is still at the same edge as the page 2? That's not what I want. I want you to take that back page and turn it upside down. And now you're going to see what happens when you do that. If I take that paper and I fold this edge down, just hold it down. Do you see how you see both pages right there? That tells me you flipped it over correctly. If you hadn't done it correctly, here's what would happen. If you take that page 2 and you fold this down, look, you don't see the tab for page 1. That means you've got it wrong. So flip the page 1 upside down on the back of page 2 so that when you are going to fold this over, you see both page numbers. Now when you do that, you're going to set this down. Now I know class, some of you may have a hard time with this, but when you put these 2 pages together, just keep them nice and lined up here. If you need to use a little bit of glue stick to hold them together, that's fine, but I'm going to tell you, just put a little dab on 2 of the corners to hold them together. But I'll show you, it's not that hard to do this without glue. Alright, so now I've got page 1 and page 2. Now my instructions say, take page 3 and put it on the back of the top flap or the front flap upside down. It's the exact same process. So here's my 2 pages. I've got page 3 and I've got my front flap. I'm going to take my front flap, I'm going to flip it upside down. And now, flip it on the other side, and then I'm going to turn it upside down. Again, let's take a look and see if I've got this right. If I'm holding this page right now and I flip this over, do you see that the top flap is the right way? It's turned the same way. Again, let me demonstrate for you if you mess it up. If you don't turn it over the right way, when you take a look at flap number 3 or whatever number this is and you fold this down, look, your paper on the other side when you fold it down is upside down, and that means you got it wrong. So I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to flip that back page over. I'm going to put it together nice and flat. I'm going to check my work. There we go. When I flip it over, when I flip this edge down over this, I see they're both turned the right way. So there's the first thing you got to do is you line up your pages, turn them so the printing is on the outside, and flip one of the pages over so they line up like this. So now the question is, how do I assemble the flipbook? Now if you had more pages, you would continue to do this until all the pages were assembled based on the instructions. And now here's what I'm going to do. The highest number, look on both sides of your paper, the highest number is going to go on your table first. So take a look. I'm taking page number 3, my highest number in this flipbook. My other page you can see is 2, and the back of that is, if you look at the other side, it is 1. So that's not the one I want. I want the one that's the highest page number, in this case 3. And watch, I'm going to lay it down on the table. Now, I'm going to take my next page number, in this case 2, not 1. I don't want to look at 1. If I see 1, I'm going to turn this over. I want page 2. And I'm going to lay page 2 down so it is sitting on top of page 3. Now, keep all your papers nice and together when you do this. Now, I'm going to show you what this looks like so you see where I'm at. Not sure if you can see this okay, but take a look, class. Now I have laid them so that the 2 papers that had page 3 on one side went on the bottom. The 2 papers that had page 1 and 2 on them, I turned it so that page 2 is on top of page 3. And if you look at this, you'll see there's a little line that's right above page 3. You want to line up that next page right on top of that, nice and square, nice and lined up. Take a look at my edges. You see, if I show you this, all my edges are nice and lined up, and I've got those 2 pages together. And now here's the last thing I do. I'm going to actually hold this down. Now if I had another page to do, let's say I had page 4, and then I did 3 on top of that, and then 2 on top of that. The last thing is really important to get your notes together nice and organized and nice and clean. You're going to take your hand now and hold this bottom part down. Once you've got your right and your left edges nice and lined up, and you got these 2 bottom parts nice and square, you're going to hold down the bottom part, then you're going to grab all the pages of the top part and you're going to fold them down. Now watch when I do that. When I fold them down, I'm going to fold the page number 1 in this case right on top of and lined up perfectly with page number 2. And once I'm happy with my fold, I'm going to go ahead and crease my paper all the way. Now I'm going to show you guys, zoom in a little bit, and show you what that ends up looking like. Sorry for the creakiness of my tripod. So now you see, there was 3, there was 2, and when I folded it over, page 1 ended up right on top of 2, perfectly aligned, and now you see the first thing you see on top is the cover of your flipbook. So everything you see now is assembled nicely. So now the next thing you'll do is you'll go ahead and staple this together. And I've got my stapler right here that I'm going to grab. So you should have a stapler somewhere around your house. And you're going to put a staple, if I point to this, you're going to put a staple right up here in the top corner, right up here in the other top corner, and if you want to make sure everything stays together really well, you can put one right in the middle as well. Now when you put your staple on there, you don't want to staple too close to the fold. If you do, your pages are going to fall out. You also don't want to staple too far down the page, because if you do that, when you fold your flipbook pages up, you're not going to be able to see all of your notes areas. So I'm going to tell you, if you had a ruler or something to measure with, you're going to go about 1/4 of an inch into the page and then staple. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and show you what that looks like. Okay, so take a look at what I've done. Here are my staples. There's my first one. There's my second corner, and if you want, go ahead and put a third one here. So there you go. Your flipbook is now assembled. Last thing you're going to do is, before you put your name and your period on it, is watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold all of my pages out so I can open them up, and they make it easy for me to open them up and look at my notes and put my notes in there. So every flap I will grab and I will clearly fold that up right up against where the staples are so I can see all my notes. If when you fold them up, you realize, like I'll show you this, if you realize that when you fold them, you can't see one of your boxes here, then you've put your staples too far in or too far down the page. Restaple it and try again. When you do this right, take a look at this. Every section, when you open it up, you can see clearly both flaps, next section, both flaps, next section, both flaps. And then this one happens to have a back as well. So now, class, I want to show you this. It's kind of nice. This is the way I would do this if we were in normal class and not online. When you do this, you will see all of your chapter headings are all filled out for you. If you need to remember what the zero product property is, you go right to this tab. This means top. This side is the bottom flap. When I open up zero product property, all your notes for zero product property will be right here, along with the essential question. So now you have an actual assembled flipbook like I would normally do in class. I just needed to take some time to figure this out, how to explain this all to you, and you are good to go with this. Have this out every day in class so you can use this as a reference. Your notes are useless to you, students, if you don't know how to use them and how to find what you're looking for. So when you do your videos, make sure you're paying attention. As I've told you before, fill out the correct flap or correct section, either the top or the bottom flap, and now you've got this nice booklet to reference while we're going through the unit. And I will tell you, for the final exam, these are worth so much for you because you're going to forget some of the concepts you learned in previous units. Your flipbook will be your way of reminding you how to do certain procedures if you have forgotten them. So that's pretty much it, class. If you do not have access to a printer, then you're going to be still doing your notes by hand. But again, just try to make this a priority. Get access to a printer, and if you can't do that, you're going to have to just take blank paper like I've explained already in the instructions and put it together. If you can get a printer, though, I'm telling you, you guys can see this is a whole lot better way of organizing your work, and you are writing a lot less than having to copy down all these graphs and all these things. And I know, class, when you guys are pressed for time, most of you, you're not drawing really accurate graphs. So your notes hardly even help you because you can't even figure out what you did. So again, access to a printer, call the school and bother them. Ask them, I gotta come to school and print things out. Please give me access to a printer. And there should be some way that they can accommodate you on that. All right, class, so that is it. I hope that made sense to you. Put your flipbook together and you can go ahead and start your notes. Goodbye for now.